After I refused to pay for my daughter's expensive wedding, she stopped speaking to me. Weeks later, she invited me to a family dinner. When I arrived, 2 attorneys were waiting with documents. She said, "Sign these papers or you'll never see your grandson again." I calmly reached for my phone and said, "Let me make a quick call first." But before I tell you what happened next, thank you for watching. Your support means everything to us. If you enjoy our stories, please hit that subscribe button and tell us in the comments what state you're watching from. We love connecting with you. Today's special shout out goes to Margaret Wilson from Phoenix, Arizona. Thank you for being part of our family. Now let me tell you everything that happened that night. The red sweater felt heavy as I put it on. I'd bought it last Christmas when Jessica first introduced us to Michael. Back then, I thought he was perfect for her. Back then, I believed my daughter still understood the value of money. 2 months had passed since our terrible argument about wedding costs. $52,000. That's what Jessica and Michael wanted me to pay. "Mom, you're being selfish," Jessica had screamed. "You have Dad's life insurance money sitting there. Don't you want me to be happy?" I tried explaining that happiness didn't require crystal fountains or imported orchids. I'd offered $10,000, enough for a lovely ceremony at the community center. But Jessica looked at me like I'd betrayed her. "Fine," she'd said, grabbing Michael's hand. "If you won't support us, we don't need you in our lives." The silence lasted 9 weeks. No calls, no visits, no photos of little Tyler, my 4-year-old grandson who used to help me tend my roses every Saturday. I'd drive past their apartment sometimes, hoping to see him playing outside. Then came that Tuesday call. Jessica's voice sounded different, softer. "Mom, I've been thinking. Maybe we both said things we regret. Michael and I want to take you to dinner. You know, work things out." My hands trembled holding the phone. Maybe the separation had taught her what truly mattered. "I'd love that," I whispered, already imagining how we'd repair our broken relationship. "How about Romano's on 5th Street?" she suggested. Romano's, where we'd celebrated her college graduation, her first job, all our special moments. The drive there felt like time travel, past her old school, the park where she'd learned to ride a bike. Each memory felt precious, like photographs I'd feared losing forever. Romano's looked unchanged. Red checkered tablecloths, the smell of garlic bread, familiar warmth. Jessica was already there in our usual corner booth, but something felt wrong. She wore an expensive black dress, and there were strangers at our table, 2 men in dark suits studying me like I was a problem to solve. "Mom?" Jessica stood up, her smile forced. "Thanks for coming." I hugged her, but her body felt stiff. "Who are your friends?" I asked, looking at the serious men with briefcases. "These are business associates," Michael said quickly, appearing from the restroom. "They wanted to meet you." Something cold settled in my stomach. This wasn't a family dinner. "Mrs. Anderson," said the older man with gray hair. "I'm Thomas Mitchell, attorney. We've prepared documents that benefit everyone." My hands started shaking. Documents at a family dinner felt like a trap. "What kind of documents?" I asked, though my heart was racing. The attorney opened his briefcase. "Simply put, we recommend you sign power of attorney to Jessica and Michael. Living alone at your age, financial management can become challenging." My age, I was 62, not 92. I balanced my checkbook monthly, paid bills on time. I wasn't confused or incapable. "I don't understand," I said, looking at Jessica. "Why would I need help managing my money?" The second attorney spoke up. "Mrs. Anderson, you've been making questionable decisions lately, refusing to help with important family expenses. Perhaps it's time to let family help you make better choices." Better choices like spending $52,000 on one party? Like throwing away my security on designer flowers? He slid papers across the table. "If you could just sign here, we can arrange everything tonight." I stared at the documents. Power of attorney, financial guardianship, asset management. Words that meant they wanted control of everything my husband and I had built over 30 years. "And if I don't sign?" I asked quietly. Jessica finally looked at me, and I saw a stranger. "Mom, You need to think about Tyler. He needs stability. If you're not willing to help your family, maybe you shouldn't be part of Tyler's life. The words hit like physical blows. My own daughter was using my grandson as a weapon. Are you saying I can't see Tyler anymore? I whispered. Jessica shrugged like we were discussing the weather instead of destroying our relationship. That depends on you, Mom. Sign the papers and we're a happy family. Refuse and we'll have to protect Tyler from negative influences. The restaurant spun around me. Other families were enjoying dinner, laughing together. Normal families who weren't blackmailing each other. I looked at the papers again, seeing my entire future disappearing. My house, my savings, my independence. Everything would belong to Jessica and Michael. That's when I remembered my neighbor's warning last month. Mrs. Chen had told me about her own son trying this exact scheme, using grandchildren as leverage for money. Martha, she'd said, if your family ever pressures you to sign papers, call my lawyer immediately. Promise me. I'd thought she was paranoid. I'd thought my Jessica would never hurt me like this. Time to make that call. I reached into my purse slowly. Jessica leaned forward, probably thinking I was getting a pen. Instead, I pulled out my phone. Mom, Jessica said sharply, what are you doing? Making a phone call, I said calmly. Hello, Patricia. It's Martha Anderson, Mrs. Chen's neighbor. Yes, I need you at Romano's on 5th Street right now. Bring those documents we discussed. I hung up and placed the phone on the table. The silence was deafening. Thomas Mitchell cleared his throat nervously. Mrs. Anderson, perhaps we should discuss this privately. How thoughtful, I said, surprised by my calm voice. Family matters can be emotional, can't they? Jessica's face was turning red. Mom, you're making this complicated. Just sign and we can go home. Whose home? I asked. Mine, which you want to control? Or yours, which Tyler isn't allowed to leave to visit me? Michael grabbed Jessica's arm. This is ridiculous. We don't need to sit here for this. No, Jessica said firmly. We finish this tonight. She turned to me with eyes I didn't recognize. Mom, you're being stubborn. We're trying to help you. Don't you want Tyler to have nice things, good schools? I want Tyler to have grandparents who love him without conditions, I said firmly. I want him to learn that family doesn't blackmail each other. The attorneys were whispering now, looking uncomfortable. This wasn't going according to plan. That's when I heard heels clicking on the wooden floor. Patricia Walsh appeared beside our table, carrying a briefcase and wearing the expression of someone who'd dealt with family financial abuse before. Sorry I'm late, she said, not sounding sorry at all. Patricia Walsh, Mrs. Anderson's attorney. The two men suddenly looked less confident. Patricia pulled up a chair and opened her briefcase. I understand there are documents you'd like Mrs. Anderson to sign. Before we proceed, you should see what she's already established. She spread papers across the table, official documents that made Jessica's face go pale. Irrevocable trust, Patricia explained conversationally. Established last week after Mrs. Chen warned Martha this might happen. All of Martha's assets have been transferred to the Tyler Anderson Educational Trust. Jessica grabbed the papers, reading frantically. What does this mean? Patricia smiled. It means your son will be well provided for. College tuition, medical expenses, everything a loving grandmother would want. But neither you nor Michael will have access to those funds. Michael made a choking sound. You can't do this. Actually, Patricia said calmly, family members who truly care don't threaten to withhold grandchildren for money. Jessica was reading the documents, hands shaking with anger. This is impossible. We had an agreement. What agreement? I asked quietly. The one where you'd blackmail me into signing over my life savings? Patricia pulled out another folder. Photos of you meeting with these attorneys 2 weeks ago. Jessica providing Martha's financial information without consent. Michael researching property values. The pictures were clear, damning evidence of conspiracy planned before tonight. How did you get these? Jessica whispered. Mrs. Chen suspected this might happen, Patricia explained. She hired an investigator to protect Martha. She turned to the attorneys. Gentlemen, I hope you're prepared to explain to the State Bar why you participated in attempted elder abuse. The younger attorney was already gathering papers, mumbling about misunderstandings. "This isn't over," Jessica said, standing abruptly. "You're my mother. That money should be mine." 28 years of raising her, loving her, sacrificing for her, and this is what it came to. Money meant more than our relationship, more than Tyler's need for a grandmother. "You're right," I said quietly. "I am your mother. I'm the woman who walked the floor when you had colic. I saved for 2 years to buy that car for your 16th birthday. I worked overtime to pay for your college. This is how you repay me." Jessica grabbed Michael's arm. "Let's go. We don't need this." "If you walk out that door," I said, my voice growing stronger, "if you continue using Tyler as a weapon, you're teaching him that love is conditional. Is that really the lesson you want him to learn?" For a moment, I saw a flicker of the little girl I'd raised. But then Michael pulled her toward the exit and the moment was gone. "Fine," Jessica said coldly. "Don't expect to see Tyler anytime soon, and don't expect us at Thanksgiving." After they left, Patricia and I sat in the quiet restaurant. "Are you okay?" she asked gently. I considered the question. My daughter had tried to steal my savings. My grandson was being used against me. But I was still in control of my own life, still had my dignity. "I think I will be," I said finally. "It hurts more than I imagined, but I won't let them destroy me." The trust was ironclad. Tyler's future was secure, and I'd receive enough monthly to live comfortably without worrying about money. 2 weeks passed before Jessica called again. I was volunteering at the community center, helping seniors with computer classes, when my phone rang. "Mom?" Her voice sounded uncertain, maybe ashamed. "Can we talk?" "What do you want to discuss?" I kept my voice neutral. "Tyler keeps asking about you. He wants to know when Grandma is coming to visit. He misses our Saturday garden time." The words were like warm honey. "And what do you tell him?" "I tell him you're busy," she admitted. "But he's smart. Yesterday he asked if you were sick, if that's why you don't come anymore." "I miss him too," I said honestly, "more than you can imagine." "Then come over. Come for dinner. I'm making pot roast." "What about the attorneys? What about the power of attorney documents?" Long pause. "We decided not to pursue that." "Did you? Or did Patricia explain that elder abuse is a felony?" "Mom, maybe we approached things wrong, but we're still family. Tyler needs his grandmother." She was right. Tyler did need his grandmother. But did his grandmother need to be manipulated to maintain that relationship? "I'll think about it," I said. "But Jessica, if I come over, there will be conditions. No discussion of money, no lawyers, no guilt trips about wedding expenses. If you want a relationship with me, it has to be because you value me as a person." "Okay," she said finally. "We can do that." Sunday dinner was awkward at first. Polite conversation about weather, Tyler's preschool, safe topics. Tyler was the only genuine voice, chattering about his toys and friends. As I prepared to leave, Tyler clung to my legs. "Don't go, Grandma. Stay and play blocks." "Next Sunday," I promised, kneeling to his level. "If Mommy says it's okay." The following week settled into careful routine. Sunday visits, always brief, always supervised. Jessica and Michael were polite but distant, treating me like a relative who needed careful management. But Tyler was growing, asking harder questions. "Grandma, why don't you live with us anymore?" How could I explain to a 4-year-old that his parents had tried to steal my money? "Sometimes grandmas need their own houses," I said carefully. "But that doesn't mean we love each other any less." 3 months later, Jessica called with news that changed everything. "Mom, I'm pregnant again, due in the spring." Another grandchild, another innocent person caught in family problems. "Congratulations," I said, meaning it despite everything. "The pregnancy is high risk. The doctor wants me on bed rest. We might need help with Tyler." And there it was. They needed something from me again. Not money this time, but childcare. "What kind of help?" "If I have to stay in bed, someone needs to watch Tyler during the day. Daycare is expensive, and with medical bills..." They needed free babysitting. They needed me to be useful again. If I agree, I said slowly, there will be clear boundaries about what I will and won't do, and absolutely no discussion of money. Of course, Jessica said quickly. We just need someone Tyler trusts. Caring for Tyler full-time was exhausting, but wonderful. He was bright, curious, full of questions about everything. We spent mornings reading stories, afternoons exploring the park. I taught him to identify birds and how to plant seeds. For the first time in months, I felt genuinely needed for my love and attention, not my bank account. One evening, while Tyler played with his trucks, Jessica sat beside me at the kitchen table. "Mom, I owe you an apology," she said quietly. "What we did with the lawyers was wrong. We were scared about money and made bad decisions." I looked at my daughter, seeing genuine remorse for the first time in months. "Yes," I said simply. "It was wrong. It hurt me more than you can imagine." "I know," she whispered. "Watching you with Tyler these past weeks, seeing how much you love him, I realize what we almost threw away. I was so focused on giving Tyler things that I forgot he needs people more than possessions." It wasn't complete transformation, but it was a start. Baby Sophie was born on a sunny April morning, small but healthy. When Jessica called from the hospital, I cried with relief and joy. The hospital visit was emotional. Jessica looked tired but happy, holding tiny Sophie like spun glass. Tyler was fascinated by his sister, wanting to count her miniature fingers. "Mom," Jessica said while Michael took Tyler to the nursery, "thank you for everything. Taking care of Tyler, helping with the house, being there when we needed you. I know we haven't always been fair." "I did it for Tyler," I said honestly. "And now I'll do it for Sophie too, because that's what grandmothers do." "Will you help us figure out how to be a better family?" she asked. The months that followed weren't perfect, but they were better. Real conversations replaced polite small talk. Jessica and Michael asked for my advice instead of demanding my money. Tyler's 5th birthday was held in my backyard under the oak tree where I'd pushed Jessica on a swing 30 years earlier. Nothing fancy, just family and neighborhood children. Tyler wore a shirt I'd made him, his face glowing as he opened handmade gifts. "This is the best party ever," he declared, chocolate frosting on his cheeks. "You know," Jessica said as we cleaned up, "I used to think success meant having enough money to buy anything we wanted. But watching Tyler today, seeing how happy he is with simple pleasures, I realize I had it backwards." She paused, folding chairs thoughtfully. "Success is having people who love you for who you are, not what you can provide." The trust fund remained untouched, growing steadily for Tyler and Sophie's education. Jessica and Michael never mentioned it, seeming to understand finally that some things were more valuable than money. One Sunday afternoon, as I sat in my garden watching Tyler chase butterflies while Sophie napped in her stroller, I reflected on our journey. The pain of that terrible dinner, the fear of being threatened, the loneliness of choosing dignity over family pressure, all had led to this moment of genuine connection. "Grandma," Tyler called, running over with a dandelion. "Look, a wish flower." "What will you wish for?" I asked. He considered carefully. "I wish for our family to always be happy, and for Sophie to learn to walk soon so she can play with me." "Those are wonderful wishes," I told him, helping him blow the seeds into the breeze. As we watched them drift away, I made my own silent wish. Not for money or possessions, but for wisdom to continue building healthy relationships, for strength to maintain boundaries while keeping my heart open. That evening, after everyone had gone home, I called Mrs. Chen to share the day's events. "You should be proud," she said warmly. "Not many people have the courage to stand up to their own children like that." She was right. I'd been fortunate that Jessica and Michael learned from their mistakes. Not all families survive financial manipulation. I'd gained more than I'd lost by refusing to be a victim. Self-respect and genuine relationships built on mutual care rather than dependency. As I prepared for bed, I thought about the woman I'd been a year ago. Frightened, manipulated, willing to sacrifice security for family peace. She seemed like a stranger now. In her place was someone stronger, wiser, more confident in her worth. Someone who understood that love without respect wasn't really love at all. The red sweater still hung in my closet, but I'd added brighter colors, more confident styles. I'd started watercolor classes, joined a hiking group, even begun having coffee with a kind widower from church. Life was full of possibilities beyond being someone's mother or grandmother or potential victim. Standing in that same garden months later, everything had changed. Tyler was helping me plant spring bulbs. Sophie was taking wobbly first steps across the grass. Jessica and Michael were planning a simple anniversary celebration, focusing on love rather than material things. "Tell me the story again, Grandma," Tyler said as we worked in the soil. The story about the brave lady who wouldn't let mean people take her treasure. It had become his favorite bedtime story, adapted for young ears. In Tyler's version, the brave lady was a queen who protected her treasure from greedy dragons, teaching them that sharing and kindness were more valuable than gold. As I told the familiar tale, I realized Tyler was learning about boundaries, self-respect, the difference between people who loved you and those who wanted to use you. The most precious gift I could give him wasn't money in a trust fund, but knowledge that he was valuable for who he was. Jessica joined us in the garden, picking up Sophie and spinning her until she giggled with pure joy. "Mom," she said, settling on the grass beside us, "I want you to know we're grateful for everything you've taught us about family, about priorities, about what really matters. We're better parents because of how you handled our mistakes." "You're better parents because you chose to learn from them," I corrected gently. "I just refused to enable them." As sunset painted the sky pink and gold, I felt deep contentment. Not false peace from avoiding conflict, but real satisfaction from standing up for what was right. My relationship with Jessica would never be the same. It was better, built on honesty instead of manipulation, respect instead of entitlement. "Grandma," Tyler said, tugging my sleeve, "when I grow up, I want to be brave like the queen in the story." "You already are brave," I told him, pulling him close. "You're brave every time you try something new, every time you stand up for what's right." That night, as I tucked Tyler into bed for his weekly sleepover, he asked one final question. "Will you always protect us, Grandma?" I smoothed his hair back, thinking about all the ways love could be expressed and protected. "I'll always love you," I promised, "and I'll always do what's best for you, even if it's not what you want at the time. That's what grandmothers do." He smiled sleepily, secure knowing some things were absolutely dependable. Love, protection, the fierce loyalty of a grandmother who'd learned the difference between being used and being needed. Whatever challenges lay ahead, we'd face them as a family that had been tested and emerged stronger. A family that understood the true value of unconditional love.